Hello everyone. On behalf of Entigrity Remote Staffing, I welcome you all to our next webinar where we will help viewers understand how Entigrity Remote Staffing works. I am Chandan, Client Success Manager with Entigrity. Today with me I have Mike Goossen. Mike is the Chief Mentor with Entigrity. He is a CPA and is also the CEO of Columns for Success. We also have Sean Parikh with us, who is the founder and CEO of Entigrity Group. Before we begin, let me give you a quick background about Entigrity. We are headquartered out of Montauk, Long Island, New York, and also have 3 offices in India. Today, we are working with 500 plus accounting firms all across the United States and have a client retention rate of 96%. Entigrity is an ISO 27001 certified company, which is the highest standard for information security management. And it is my pleasure to share that we have had 0 security breaches till date. Also, we work exclusively with CPA firms, accounting practices, and tax professionals. Now, I will invite Mike to take this webinar forward and share some of his valuable insights about how Entigrity Remote Staffing works. Over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Chandan. And now we'll go ahead and get into the presentation. Today, we'll be talking about the extension, how remote staffing is an extension of your office, what the essential elements of working together and remotely are, such as communication and collaboration, how we access the information and data, how you monitor and control the work of the remote person. And also, as we talk about a little bit about leveraging the time zone differences, and we'll see about that towards the end. So working with remote staffing is basically the same as an extension of your office. You're able to work with them and train them on your systems, your protocols, and you can start small, working with just one person and grow it up from there, or wherever you want to start. It's up to you in that regard. And you can learn the process as you go.
And yes, Mike, I just wanted to add a little more perspective to what you said. Today, we have many clients who started with a part-time employee or part-time remote staff or one staff and have built a full-fledged team. Just to give you an example, we have a client in California who has hired 9 remote staff that works from our office in India. So they started with 2 staff and then they gradually built the whole team. They have managers, they have associates. The managers directly report to the partners and senior partners in California's office. So essence is basically, this is in true sense an extension of your office where you hire people, they work under your control and management. And this is what we really built it for. When we saw big 4 and larger firms building their own offices in India, the real question is, can this come down to smaller firms, mid-sized firms? Answer was no, because they cannot go to India and build their offices, undertake compliances, undertake traveling, local challenges for hiring 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 people. So that's where we became the bridge where they can still have their team members working from our office in India. So that's the whole concept.
Thank you, Sean, for that insight. That does sound good. That sounds possible and very helpful. So next we have communication and collaboration when it comes to remote staffing is a very important challenge. When you're working with someone directly, building a relationship with the person across the desk from you, you're able to communicate on a level that's a little bit different because you have body language, you have inflections of words, and actual studies have shown that as much as 50% or even more, 70% of communication is completely in the cues and things we pick up. However, in advance of that or knowing this, there are lots of ways to approach your communication with your remote staff that makes things equally successful and able to manage, such as a phone call, text, messages. You can reply, talk, communicate. That works just fine as if they were in the same state or down the room, down the hall in your office. Email is another effective tool that's available to you where you can collaborate with a lot of information, be specific, seek responses. Very helpful is obviously instant messaging, video calls, audio calls, chats, all those type of tools that are available to you through the internet and so forth. And then when it comes down to actually tracking and managing the workflow of your remote staff, you have your workflow management system that you're having that you use already that could be easily set up for us. Or if you have something, if you're not using that, you can track it through spreadsheets or other type of communications.
And today, each of the remote staff that works, we set up US phone on their desktop if client permits. And the way you normally talk in US by calling and texting people, you can communicate in the same way seamlessly. And applications like Skype or Slack allows you to communicate over a video call or an audio call or a chat or conference call at a click of a button. Today, internet and technology day and age, communication and collaboration has become seamless and very, very, responsive. And you can say in real time, you can communicate each and everything. You can share files, you can share your ideas. So for effective communication and collaboration, you don't need somebody in your office.
Often we are asked if we'll be able to communicate in English with our remote staff there in India. And we are quick to point out that yes, English is the second most spoken language in India. Actually, we have the highest number of English-speaking people only after the United States. And the one thing that's important is that before you hire anyone in our system, you'll have a chance to interview, test them, make sure they're competent, and have a clear understanding of how they communicate and how well their English is concerned. One thing is for sure, if you're looking for an American accent, that's just not going to happen. The English accent you're going to get most likely is that of the British accent, which is part of the fact that India's history has Britain as India was a colony of Britain years ago, and so that's where the English has come from. And so it's often taught and promulgated still in that particular accent. So if you're looking for talk like us here in America, it's not going to be happening, but it doesn't mean that we can't communicate clearly, and it does work out just fine.
And apart from that, Mike, the people we are hiring, who work as a remote staff of our clients, they already have previous experience of working with American companies, either public accounting firms or corporations. So their understanding of American culture is very, very high. Although they might not be able to communicate in American accent, they understand American culture. So which is most important thing when it comes to, accounting or doing, working with American companies. So that cultural difference is much lesser. It is also often, this question comes very often from our client that if I hire somebody locally, there is no challenge of this cultural gap or communication gap. But this gap is not that big that you cannot collaborate and work together. There is a little gap, but that gap can be bridged, if you can put it like that.
Yeah, I think you can. It's there, but it's not that formidable. So now let's talk a little bit about the operational aspects of remote staffing in relationship to how we access documents and software in your firm. There's really 3 ways that you can access your system that we have, and that is the first way is remote access, which is the most ideal. This approach is where a person, your remote staff, would actually log into your system through whatever approach that your network allows. They will do the work on your system. They will then log out of your system when they're done with that particular task or that assignment, and all the work, all the files stay in your control and in your system. Using a cloud is very, very similar, where you all access the cloud and the servers there as opposed to not in your office, which is becoming more and more popular as we go. And the other option is the file sharing through the systems, which is the least successful approach, probably because sometimes there might be documents that are out in different places and they're not equal. So we recommend and really arrange for the remote access approach to getting your system worked with. Of all these 3 options, we highly recommend the remote access, so that you, your office, everyone working in your office and your remote staff are working on the same files, working on the same documents, and working together to accomplish the jobs and tasks that are done in the most secure way. And basically, it's just like the remote staff is working in your office without being in your office. It also works for, we're talking about the same with the access to the software. The remote access allows them to use the software that you have in your office and in your system, and it works the best, similar to the remote access to the document sharing. The next part of the program is to how do you monitor and control the work being performed by the remote staff. If you have this timesheet system in play and you're using it on a regular basis, that's exactly what they'll use. They'll time in, they'll clock in, they will provide you the information and clock out. There's also an added report that comes out daily that will give as a reports on what that day, so that you can be sure that they're making progress as you expect. We also recommend a lot of periodic reviews where you're talking on initially, especially with a new program going, you want to meet on a daily basis with a quick phone call or a quick online chat to make sure that we're on the same place. not much different than if you go down and stop by the office of your staff in the office there and say, how are things going today? What's the next step and how are you doing? There's also weekly meetings that you would hold within your regular office. The remote office person would be chimed in via phone or video chat or something like that. These regular meetings will keep them on track, keep them abreast of what's happening in your firm, and as new things come out in your firm, they would also be apprised and up to speed on that as well. So they'll use your timesheet that you have, they'll report to you daily and weekly on what their progress is, they'll communicate with you as often as you like, daily or even hourly if it matters, and also keeping them in time of regular meetings, that would be very helpful to make it all work. The last thing we'd like to talk about today is the time zone difference and how can we take advantage of that as opposed to have it as a hindrance. Normally, we hire all of our staff on a 9-hour workday, which is basically 8 hours because there's a 1-hour break. And what we will do is we'll hire the person that you choose to work to your time zone. And we do that through the 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. time, which allows for overlap of time. But the one thing that's very nice here is that it allows you to assign staff the day before, assign work, and that work can be being done while you're sleeping. And when you arrive, get things going, you have some work done that you expect, and you can talk about where you're at with that, what needs to be done, or maybe it's completely finished. If it's important to you to have the staff working the exact same hours as you are, we can do that as well.
So thank you, Mike and Sean, for giving us your valuable insights on the effective functioning of Integrity's remote staffing. I hope you all must have found it interesting as well as informative. Please feel free to share your thoughts about it, and we will be glad to answer all your queries. Please subscribe to our newsletters and YouTube channel to know more about our upcoming webinars. And I also request you to download our ebook to read more about it in detail. It is available on our website. Thank you.